Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome aboard the PV-2D Harpoon, which is the reward plane, the first one for the 2017 Chronicles Marathon. And I have to immediately say that I love this plane. It's awesome to fly, but it's again nothing completely new. It's very similar to the B-34 in the US Tech Tree, and it's a rank 2 battle rating 3.3 American premium medium bomber. And for that battle rating it packs quite a punch. Now in a moment I will give you a plane review, so to speak, about this plane, and yeah, I think that then just quickly sums up. In the background you can see footage of my battles that I fought today with some really nice scenes. What is this plane in summary? Well, it's a very fast, good protected and very capable medium bomber slash strike fighter, heavy fighter, something like this, for a relatively low battle rating, especially for the bomb load and rocket load it has. So let's just talk briefly about this plane, shall we? First, let's have a quick look at the armor layout of the PV-2D Harpoon, and we can see that in the wings there is no armor at all. Also for the engines there is no armor, but for the crew there is a little bit. 12.7mm platings from the front for the two pilots, from the rear, and some additional armor here. Then also for the belly gunner we have here armor plating, and for the rear we also have a plating here, and also for the top gunner. Then let's have a look at the X-ray, and we can see that we have indeed a lot of crew in the plane. What is a bit astonishing is that we not just have this belly gunner here, but also this top gunner, but then those two guys. I have no idea which purpose they serve. Those are also two gunners, but they just miss their machine guns. Then we also have the two pilots. Then we also have the 850 caliber machine guns in the front nose, and yeah, this is practically P-47 firepower centralized. We also have the two engines and the oil cooling system, which gets hit relatively easy, but because you have air-cooled Pratt & Whitney R2800 31 18-cylinder radial engines, they can last for a bit longer than inline water-cooled engines. Furthermore, we have self-sealing fuel tanks in the alongside the wings and also in the wing roots. Together with the engines, they can catch fire, but let's say half of the time you can extinguish the fire, but half of the time it also burns just simply through. You're overall relatively durable, but for example certain AAA hits make all the crew yellow, and a lot of the modules also get damaged, but they will not die in one hit. Furthermore, which is very nice, is that the control cables get not snapped that often, and also the elevator, which is huge, like from a B-24 or B-34 as well, is relatively sturdy in comparison to other bombers. Maybe that's just at the current state of the patch. Maybe this is something that the plane is known for, but however, the plane overall is relatively sturdy. Now let's talk about the modifications, and we have quite some things. So we have the turret, and I think the best belt is the universal belt. For the offensive, it's up to personal taste. You either take the universal, the ground target, or the stealth belt. I personally think that the universal belt is just simply the best one, especially for those critical head-ons where you just simply need to know exactly where shots go. And for the turret, the 7.62 belly gunner, well, on a targets is practically the only useful belt, but don't expect any miracles from it. As a premium plane, everything is unlocked, which is very nice, and let's have a look at the bomb load. So 7 250-pound bombs, forget about this. 8 rockets for pure bomber hunting purposes or really fast attack rounds is also thinkable. This combination of 8 rockets and 7 250-pound bombs is not really great, and also this one torpedo has limited use although you can torpedo the U-boat bunker on Norway. However, it seems like currently there is a glitch going on where the torpedo just goes through. It worked once, so there is a tendency that it works. And also this of 8 rockets and 4 250-pound bombs is rather useless, because this is the one bomb selection or ordnance selection aside from the pure 8 HVR rockets that I recommend. HVR rockets and 4 1,000-pound bombs at battle rating 3.3. That's quite something. It depends on the map layout, the battle rating, the tier that you're fighting in. I don't know for sure, but there are occasions where I could destroy 2 bases with 2 bombs each, and you know, 4 1,000-pound bombs is a hefty bomb load, especially for a medium bomber in addition to the 8 rockets. So that's one 1,000-pound bomb more than, for example, on B-25, and you have more head-on firepower and better maneuverability. So this is a very nice bomb load or ordnance overall that you can use in multiple ways, and that brings you a mediocre result at worst, let's put it that way. As you can see in this review, the Harpoon really earns its name. It's fast and it can pack quite a punch, and it really hurts. So I think this plane is fully worth it. It is one of those reward vehicles that is really worth it, especially for grinding purposes, but also for earning silver lines. For the battle rating, you have relatively nice games, you have a relatively nice matchmaking, you can actually assault on many enemies that don't expect it, especially planes such as certain Russian bombers or the PV-2D. You spawn at altitude and you can intercept it. Let's talk briefly about the bomber hunting role. So what are, you know, the pros going for it? First of all, you are a bomber yourself. You have the durability to withstand, at least for a certain amount of time, the defensive firepower, to the point that you can finally destroy the enemy by launching some rockets, as you saw in certain clips. Then again, your rockets just make sure that you get the kill if you hit with them. Maybe going a little bit diagonal in the approach secures you a nice pattern if you use all your rockets, or you try to snipe the enemy like with this example. Watch this, how accurate the rockets are. Nice. So then also you get an air spawn, so you do not really have to climb. That means you can intercept the enemy relatively fast, the bomber that is, and you also can intercept them before they actually can drop, so you can secure your team a certain points advantage. Then you have also a 50 caliber turret if you land behind them and below them when you engage certain British bombers. This is very helpful indeed. Then also, you know, the fires that get set on your engines and your fuel tanks often enough go out if the damage done by the enemy hits is not too grave. Yeah, and I dumped up this rocket launch and I sacrificed here myself, and we had such a massive points lead that I could afford taking us both out. And you can see the tickets bleed down. So in general, the plane flies very nicely. It handles relatively nicely for a medium bomber, yet it is heavy and sluggish. It doesn't have the very best energy retention, but you know, this is the comparison for certain fighters. For a bomber, it's relatively nice, especially for this battle rating. It reminds me a little bit for the old A20G meta, if you remember in the very early days of War Thunder. You had those insanely fast A20Gs just running literally havoc across the map and just running with a very high speed. So for certain planes, this plane is practically uncatchable. And I think this is a bit of the charm, that you also go for enemy planes that are also a little bit, let's say, under-tiered. Especially the PV-2D you can surprise with your rockets. And that will also put a lot of pressure away from your fighters. Because then your fighters don't have to expose themselves to defensive fire. And when you take one, maybe two enemy bombers or fighters with you, I mean, you have done your job and you get a good income. I really have to say, for a 3.3 battle rating, breaching 100,000 silver lions without boosters but with a premium account is not too rare, to be honest. In fact, my kill to death ratio, if you have any value for that, is above 1. It's approaching 1.5 kills per death, and you know, I flew very aggressively and did some very stupid maneuvers, so I guess you could make it even better. And that's for a bomber. Is it overpowered? Not really. There is a blind spot for the defensive gunners in the rear if somebody is sitting exactly behind you, which is usually the spot where most fighters end up because you are so durable. Even 45mm hits will not necessarily put you down. That was a near miss. So I really like this plane. I would highly recommend it. Is it worth going for it by pure golden eagles? I think not. But let's say if you think about it and you don't have everyday time to go for the tasks, and you just get the first reward vehicle, the bomber, you know, the Harpoon here, and not the Yak 3T later on, it's still worth going for it, in my opinion. And in this respect, I say it's more than just a collector's item. This is a plane you actually can use. And then we have to talk about Tank RB. I think this plane really can hurt the enemy. You have 50 cals where you can wreck all those Russian AAA trucks, or even the German AAAs, the lower tier ones. You are durable enough to take some hits from 20mm anti-aircraft guns. You have a very big bomb load, so you have 3 drops of 1000 pounders. Remember, the first 2 bombs mounted under the wing roots drop in one pair, so the first 2 bombs at once. And then you also have rockets. You have 4 rocket launches and the 50 cals. Now the 50 cals are a bit weird. I mentioned that they are having the firepower of a P-47 with 850 cals. That is correct, and they also are nose mounted, and I highly recommend a convergence of 500 meters or higher. First of all, you have to force head-ons. You really should not really try to go into continuous dogfights, except if you are very experienced. And yes, what happens in a moment, I count it as a kill. A shame that I didn't hit him. It was a maneuver kill, let's put it that way. He tried to ram me, but rammed himself into the ground by doing so. And so you can see here the first results of that battle. 2 bots, 2 normal players, a few ground targets, 100,000 silver lions, relatively easy. And a good bunch of modification research points or vehicle research points. And that's even without the multiplier for lower tier vehicles, because I don't research anything currently. So the plane really brings in the result, is nice to handle, and I think the selection of bomb loads and overall the versatility of this plane is really nice. So I think you also could argue, well, if I want to go for a low tier premium, there are cheaper options. Yes, but many planes in the US tech tree play like this, or have the option of playing like this, but do not really have the option at lower tiers to combine rockets and bombs, especially with this amount of. I mean, there is the Hellcat, but you know, lower bomb loads and lower rocket loads. Yes, I put down this Focke-Wulf 200 C1, but eventually the 50 cals didn't cut it, literally, and I had to use different tactics. Now, I'm sorry for the kind of, yeah, lagging, for the lagging commentary, but I'm sick. But you know, kills like those, they just fasten up the recovering process, let's put it that way. That's the effect of one rocket versus a bombing point, or a pair of rockets rather. And I'm zooming through for attacking this henchman. The top speed is around about 630 before you rip, and your lockup is quite feelable, but you have still controllability over the elevator, but you should not be in a dive at that point anymore. So let's talk about again the 50 cals. Now, I said that they have the firepower of the P-47, especially in the head-on, because it's centralized armament, which is an advantage compared to the P-47, but you don't have quite the ammunition. You have 2,000 rounds for 8 guns, and that sounds a lot, but at the end of the day, per gun, it's not that much. It's 250 rounds per 50 caliber machine gun. And that is the moment that the bug burned down. Quack quack. So ultimately, it's a nice plane to have. You can train yourself in the art of bomber hunting, and yeah, sometimes you I mean, having rockets is not a guaranteed I win button, especially if you're too dumb to aim like me. That should have been a kill, and I turn around in the defensive gunfire of a PV-238. That's never a good thing, and you can see the fuselage takes a lot of damage, goes black very fast, but I trade my plane. And you know, trading yourself for a PV-238, there are worse things, to be honest. And that was my third kill in that game, but because I kind of restarted from the airfield, it counted as one per flyout. So that's it for this plane. Again, the short summary: I like it, it's fun to play, and you can train it. It brings in the result. It is a full premium. You have a decent selection of bomb load and rocket load, and I guess, yeah, that's it for me today. Let me know in the comment section if you have this plane, what you think about it, and how you use it in air RB or tank RB, if you still can use it for grinding, if it was kind of easy to get it or difficult to get it for you in terms of the events. Are you looking forward for it to get it because of this video, or do you think, I can do this with other planes even better? And ultimately, yeah, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more, and we'll see each other in the skies of War Thunder.